So we've talked about how there are kind of two chakras in one. We've got the heart chakra, but further out, further through the etheric bodies, we also have chakra 15, which is about collective love. But we also have the knowledge that mostly this chakra will be working with the fourth etheric body, the emotional body. But as it passes through, it will also talk to the physical body. We've talked about that. We've talked about the body of will and the mental body. So it's passing through those, so necessarily it will have an effect on those. So the body of will is hard to understand, really, in that it's about ambition and it's about motivation and it's about drive. So that kind of feels like work, right? That's our career. But if you also think about, but the energy that's passing through it from the heart chakra will influence how we are motivated in what we do. So this affects how we think and how we speak and how we project ourselves in the world. If we are hurt, if we are distrusting, if we are cynical, then that of course projects into the body of will and the mental bodies. So we become very judgmental. We also become highly critical of other people. Potentially we are prejudiced and we are intolerant at a social level, right? So, and of course, that makes total sense for somebody, for example, who is a refugee, who has been maybe one of the people that's coming in on the boats. Yeah, I wouldn't feel very kind to life at all either. I would be overcritical, judgmental, prejudiced, intolerant. That is natural, right? But, and also to a certain extent, that's safe. I think that is the other thing to like refer back to what I said to you earlier, that first of all, not everybody operates at 100% at all times. Nobody does at all times, right? That's where we're aiming for. But some people just don't have the capacity to have 100%. It might be the equivalent to my 90%, and it will stretch. But is it safe to be on a boat and be all loving and trusting of everybody in the world? No, it's really not. It's correct to have these things. So whilst we can take care of the energy in this area, we don't want to make it, let's love the world, because that puts us in danger, right? So being very careful that balance is balance for that person, the right balance for that person at that time. Other things, of course, lack of empathy and compassion. And if somebody suddenly turns very uncooperative with the rest of the world, they become like deliberately obtuse. That's one of my dad's words. Why are you being so obtuse? I would say, well, something else has happened in the background, and so we're looking at the heart chakra here, and also it will be third eye, but we'll get to that. But actually looking at, well, why have they suddenly become uncooperative? They might know. The chances are it's because you've done something to hurt them, right? That hurt suddenly affects their personality. But also somebody who has heart chakra will feel, and which came first, the chicken or the egg, but lonely and feeling like they're isolated. They are alienated from their family, maybe. As people get old, it's hard for the rest of the family to always be there, and they're sitting on their own a lot and they're isolated. It's really important to make sure that people, you're not just like doing this healing work. The healing work, as much holistically, is about making sure, but is somebody going to visit them, perhaps putting them in connection with like age concern, or somebody who, or my mum goes to like a community lunch, and it makes all the difference in the world to have that connection, because connection is all about heart chakra. But somebody who has like a really closed off chakra, will, it probably has come from they have been betrayed or hurt, and while it's shut, they can't leave it alone. They become overly obsessed by the betrayal or by the rejection, and of course then this is what I was talking about with it going through their mental bodies. So therefore they'll be like, you shouldn't trust them, you shouldn't trust, this guy that you've met, men are all pigs, it will project through. So straight away you can say, okay, well, at the heart of that, there's this tiny seed of pain. Can we do something about that pain? And it's all about Rose. I mean, we can do long lectures about it, but it is all about Rose. Rose is so good for this stuff. In the 15th century, the man he said that his mother-in-law had discovered rose oil when she had been making some rose water, and the rose water was had left a scum on the side of the jug, and he said it was her invention, and that it brings back withered souls. And I'm like, nearly 600 years later, to me, nobody's explained it any better than that it does bring back withered souls. It helps with problems with trust, with if somebody's very distrusting, or they're not willing to even try and trust, they're just like, no, I'm sorry, I've been there, I've been hurt, I just don't want to do it. It's very good at kind of, imagine how the rose unfurls and just relaxes into beauty. It's beautiful. And finally, people who have been abused quite often have this self-taught of being not worthy of being loved. Who would love you? You're useless. Nobody's going to want you. You're ugly. All of that really attacks this part of the body. And just to be clear, think about how that might play out with somebody who has eczema, for example. You're so ugly, you're not worthy of being loved, and all of this plays out. The skin is like our expression of ourselves into the outside world. So this worthiness, healing this area of this distrust and this pain of being told that you're useless and not worthy of love, can have real huge effects on the whole body. So while we're talking about being heart chakra and circulation and breathing and stuff, definitely skin as well. You'll see it playing out right through the body. So balance is all very, very important. I mentioned how sometimes I think that geranium is better than rose, and the reason for that is because if we think about it from a different archetypical point of view, we can say that this is like the love archetype. And from my point of view, as a Melissa, and therefore somebody who thinks about things from a Greek point of view, we're Hellenists, love is Venus. And Venus, and remember, Venus is veins, circulation, as well as the planet Venus and the goddess Venus. The goddess Venus is about wealth and beauty. And I think that the stress that you get with money, and you start to be like, panic is just as much heart chakra as anything else. So good. Geranium is so good for money. So I always say, put a couple of drops in your bath and you feel money worries going away. And you might say, well, what's that got to do with heart chakra and love? Well, it's almost impossible to be loving towards somebody else and generous when you are worried about you're not having enough for yourself. And geranium says, but you have got enough. In fact, you've probably got more than enough. It's a really amazing medicine from that point of view. It's a support to the adrenals, so very good for long-term stress generally. Excellent for the skin. Fantastic for things like eczema. It would be my first port of call for dry skin, itchy skin, any of those things, as well as fungal infections, incidentally. thrush and stuff like that, which aren't necessarily heart chakra things. But if you think about how your body might keep producing reactions to sex, if you are frightened of having sex and frightened that you are going to be betrayed, your body keeps going, I don't want to go there. Not a heart chakra thing, but definitely connected to heart chakra. So those kind of recurrent fungal infections, cystitis, thrush, I would also always look and go, yep, definitely sacral chakra. But what's the heart chakra doing? Is it like, does it keep kind of being elastic and going, no, don't do that, I'm not healed, I don't want you to let somebody else in, I don't want to have sex because I'm not ready yet? Okay, we need to look at that. So yeah, that is, I think, a good synopsis of heart chakra medicine. Over the week, have a look at my playlists, because I'm going to do lots of things about heart chakra medicine. I've done a much longer one with Adam Barrelay, where we're talking about the spiritual aspects, and also look for my meditations. I'll do one, I'll put the rose meditation back on for you, because of course it's the center of the universe where love's concerned. And I'll put a couple of other ones. We'll call it aromathology, breathing with just the story but also the oil. So there we go. Physical effects of a blocked heart chakra. Remember, open chakra just as problematic. And keep a lookout for the sensorium approach coming out, because this will really help to hone every aspect that you want to of the chakras. Between you and I'm going off to Greece to teach for a couple of weeks, and so it's not going to come out as fast as I wanted it to. But if you have a look in the description, there is a mailing list, a wait list, so that as soon as it comes out I can say it's here, you can get it now. I think you'll really love it. So, long video. Thank you for watching. I'll do the quick slide, and then I'll quickly show you how to do a heart chakra meditation massage.